Hey everyone, Paul ISM. Welcome to part one of my 68 Revell Chevelle birthday Christmas group build. So I released a video a week or two ago about this build. Two kits eligible, the red box American and the black box Revell Germany. Kit has to be a 68 Chevelle, no other years allowed. And you've got from 14th of November, which was Monday, all the way up to New Year. So yeah, loads of people taking part. If you want to take part, let me know down below. All you need is a new kit and to post regular updates over on ISM Facebook and or YouTube. I'm not really that fussed where you post. But like I say, plenty of people taking part. Mine is already clear coated. It is Wednesday. It was clear coated yesterday, Tuesday. It was in paint on Monday by about 1 p.m. So flying along with the build, and it's just lovely. It looks absolutely beautiful. So today we're going to get the body prepped, primed, painted. We're going to get the decals on. We're going to clear coat it. We're going to get the wheel ride height set. We're going to have to adjust some of the ride height on the kit in preparation for doing our engine, interior, running gear, etc. Be a quick build this. It's a nice simple kit, and it's nice to see loads of people involved. Like I say, if you're going to take part, let me know in the comments down below. Let's see some regular updates on it. All right. So yes, let's jump in and make a start with the build. Right then, so on with our Chevelle. So like I said, I've reviewed this kit before. It's on the channel, as is the other build that I did in classic copper colour. But this is part of my buddy build. So I know it's the same kit. I know a video built it before. But hey, here's another build on a different interpretation of the car itself. So being a new kit, the body's actually really, really clean. We've got this silly tab to remove at the front. There's a couple of seam lines across the roof, across the back of the boot lid, and on the front of each wing fender. It just needs a slight seam taken off the top. And there's these two parts to put on the rear quarter panels as well. But they fit perfectly, absolutely perfect. So cut them off, clean them up. I cut them off with the Tamiya side cutters and then removed as much excess sprue as I could as cleanly with these, and then came in with a UMP sponge, just very gently removed the sprue locator point. Really easy to clean up, no drama whatsoever, and they'd fit on perfect. It's a natural panel line on the car, so don't apply too much pressure when you're gluing it in, because you don't want any molten glue to pop out. And isn't it annoying when the little bung from under your extra thin falls out, as you'll see mine does in a minute. Really annoying when it does that. But anyway, yeah, get it glued in. Like I say, don't apply any pressure. We want this panel line to stay. It is a natural panel line on the car. But get enough glue on there. The capillary action carry it through. Glue it in place. Make sure it stays in place. So I like to do the outside and then the inside to make sure it's all glued and we know it's not going to fall off. But yeah, these fit really well. No fit issues whatsoever. Like I say, it's a really, really nice kit. Cut off our bonnet as well. Removed the sprue locating points too. So we've got a 400 UMP thinning stick to get this off. Again, really easy to clean up. And we'll whip off this tag and remove as much plastic as we can, and then hit it with a 240 1200 wider thinny. I suppose it is in a way. Thinny in the opposite direction though. Thinny as in not much depth. And that's it really. Other than that, across the top of the windows is a seam that runs on the roof. Like I say, there's one on each wing on the front and rear wings, and one across the boot lid at the back too. And I would also go around the windows and the wheel arches, because there's a few wisps of plastic in there that need removing. But really, really clean kit. This was literally painted by about, I think it was about 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon. And I started this at about 9:45 in the morning. Really, really quick kit to build. And really nice quality kit from Revell. It really, really is. So, like I say, using our 220 UMP sponge sanders, both thinny and the normal width, we're just going around and removing all the seams. Once that is done, we can then get everything mounted up for primer. So we're using a 3M sticky pad, just a little bit of it, on an old UMP decal lid, well, bottle full of water, and the Tamiya paint stand for the body itself too. Always be careful of these stands, don't have them too wide, don't apply too much pressure on the body. And then I'm going to go around with a toothbrush, remove any sanding dust, any residue from in amongst any panel lines or what have you, like so. Little preparation paramount here does give you a better finish. And then we're going to get some Ultimate Airbrush Cleaner on a nice clean bit of tissue, and we're going to go around and wipe the whole body over. Now, I normally tape the body to this stand. It was actually held on really securely, bar it was moving back and forward, but no real drama. It's going to be taken back off just after primer to be sanded, so not worth faffing around with the masking tape. So just grin and bear it and move it back and forth as required. But let you go around the whole thing, wipe it over, dry it off, job done. So we've got some Tamiya Grey Fine Surface Primer here. It's a nice light grey primer. It's decanted out the can, thinned about 20% with Tamiya Lacquer Thinner with Retarder. We've got my Iwata HPC Plus. We're at about 18 psi. And we're going to put 2 to 4 coats on. I don't mean that's what I've done on this. That's roughly what you're going to need. Depends on the colour of the plastic. How much you put down. Now on the first couple of coats, I wouldn't go too heavy. Literally get a little bit of a base coat down, and on the subsequent coats you can start layering it on a little bit thicker. In my experience, these primers and the TS paints do like to go on a bit wetter, and if you keep putting dry coats down or not wet passes, it can end up a little bit bobbly and a bit powdery. So yeah, go by your own experience though. Whatever works for you works for you. But for me, like I say, I'll do 1 or 2 light coats, and then for the last few coats, I'll come in and put them down a little bit heavier. So there's our first coat down. It's a very, very light grey primer, which is why I chose it. I could have done it in white, no problem at all, but I thought I'd add a little bit of depth to the blue. So that's it. Make sure you get all those nooks and crannies, wheel arches, the lot. And of course, don't forget the bonnet as well. Now, the inner part of the bonnet will be black, where it's got like the heat shield soundproofing, but the outer edge will be blue as well. So we're going to prime all that while we do the top. And like I say, we'll just do 2 to 4 light two light coats and 1 or 2 heavy coats on this. And here we are at the end. We've done alternating crisscross patterns. As you can see, perfectly primed, not a problem at all. Going down really well. We've got a little bit heavier on this coat to get the coverage, get the depth, and get the self-leveling properties of the primer fully working. Same on the bonnet as well. Don't go too crazy here. Smaller parts are very, very easy to overpaint, so don't go too mad. Like I say, lacquer primers, very, very good, but I do find it needs to go down a bit wetter. So it's been drying now for about 2 hours. It is my birthday, or it was on Monday, hence the birthday badge, which Hannah made me put on the bench. And we're flattening it back now with Tamiya 3000 grit sponge, just to get rid of any high spots or any dust or dirt in the finish. Actually quite clean, so didn't need a whole lot of going over. But as they say, you know, preparation is key, and it does help give a better finish. So I'm just going to go over the entire car very, very lightly and just remove the very top fine surface layer of the primer. The Tamiya pads are perfect for this. They're just about the right grit, and if not, if you only got UMP sanders or the like, I think our grey 220 grit, 240 grit are the perfect grade, especially if they're slightly worn for doing things like this. In the paint booth, and I have an MAD colour match paint. It's just Esteril Blue from B&W. It's an E36 M3 colour. I think even on later models and minis as well it was. And I originally bought this, thinned it to spray a spoiler on a 1/18 die-cast car. Tons of the paint left, and I thought, you know what, it'd be a nice colour for the Chevelle. So it had already been previously thinned. I'm not 100% how much, but I literally put this coat down. It was just splattering a little bit. So yeah, I thought I'll just get this side coat down and we'll thin it a touch more. I think I ended up thinning this about 80% with Mr. Hobby Leveling Thinner. And after it was thinned again in a minute, it went down a lot better. But these MAD paints are very, very good. They're cheap. The colours are pretty reliable. The only thing, as with all car-based paints, is you've got to be careful of the pigments on metallics. This is a metallic colour. Pigments are absolutely minuscule on them. And this is the paint thinned a lot more now, and as you can see, it's going down a lot better, a lot easier. And because it's thinned with level and thinner, you can put this stuff on wet. It has no reaction on the plastic at all, but I still observe good spray technique. And we're just going to put down several coats. Probably going to get 7 to 8 light coats. We're going to alternate from left to right to up and down passes. We're going to make sure we get all those wheel arches, all the nooks and crannies, and just keep going until we get a nice even colour spread everywhere. So beautiful paints, again through the iWatch HPC Plus, 18 PSI. Like I said, we're not in any rush to get all the paint down. We're getting all around those bonnet shuts, all around the engine bay. Some of this might be painted black later, but for now, we're getting the blue down. And here you go, I reckon this is about coat number 4. We're coming in now with an alternating pass. Like I say, make sure you get the bottom of those sills and those wheel arches, all around that engine bay as well. Here we are, I'm going to guess about coat number 6 maybe. Hard to tell, I'll lose track of how many coats, but you see we've got a nice depth of colour. And that blue is absolutely beautiful. Very happy I chose this colour for it. It looks great, and it's going to look even better in a bit when we get the white decals on. It looks absolutely stunning with its white decals on. And of course, with every coat, the bonnet or hood, depending on where you're from, gets a coat of paint as well. And that way we ensure we've got a colour matched bonnet with the car. And we don't end up with a patchwork quilt. And there we go. This has got to be the last coat now, I would say. And yeah, like I said, they're a pleasure to use, these paints. They're fairly cheap. They're like $6.95 delivered off Amazon. You get about 20 mil of paint. And I reckon that 20 mil of paint will easily... Well, that's a 30 mil bottle there behind us. I'd already used some. I thinned it just for this, put back what was left, and it filled the bottle back up. So I reckon you'll get about... 60 mil of paint easily off this. Every colour is going to vary, possibly more, but it goes down great, covers really well, and there we go. There's the blue down. It's got a beautiful sheen to it, very, very nice metallic sheen, and yeah, gone down, no problem whatsoever. There we go. This is that evening now, so this is about 5 hours later. And we're going to go with the stripes. Now, I toyed with all different things with the stripes. Should I hand mask and paint them? Do like a metallic colour? I had some gold ones. And I was looking at it, I thought, you know what? Let's just do the standard white ones. So we cut them out. We've got some decal water there as well. And we're getting them in place. Now, these Revell decals go down really well. So on this, it's line up with that vent at the back, and then line it up with the center part of the bonnet, the actual strip, until you're happy, and then get your decal brush and get rid of all the creases and what have you. Like I say, fantastic decals. Can't comment on the American boxing. I haven't got it and I haven't built it, but I've never had any real drama with the normal Revell car kits. Any ones I've ever had dramas with are the NASCARs, which the decals just always seem to be horrendous and go like plastic when you even try to use any decal solution on them whatsoever. So like I said, we're going to line it up with that vent at the back, line it up with the panel by the wipers, make sure it's straight down the middle, and then at the front, it crosses over the front of the bonnet onto that leading edge, and we're going to have to cut it there. So I've got the bonnet in place. I'm going to tape it down so it doesn't move. And then we're going to set the decals in place to make sure that nothing moves. We've got no creases. And that we can cut that front end and get that front end piece laid down. So we've got some UMP normal here, decal solution. One of my water pens. There's nothing in the water pen. I used to have decal solutions in them. They were really handy. But they're not airtight, and your decal solutions lose all their power and potency over time. So because I used the actual brushes so much as decaling, I got used to it and just kept using them. And yeah, it's my favourite decaling brush. So there you go. Once you've got it all brushed down as good as you can, use a nice clean cotton bud to very, very gently push out all that excess moisture and get those creases out. Takes a little bit of work, but like I say, very, very high quality decals. Not a drama at all. And it's just a case of methodically working your way around until you're happy you've got rid of all the decals. Now, a little bit of heat helps. So we're going to hit it with some heat, and then we're going to grab some UMP Extra Strong to get it all fully set in place. Once we cut that front leading edge of the bonnet, we'll do that. But the heat does really help, helps dry out the decal underneath, and also helps you work out any creases as well. And yeah, I would say we got the decals nigh on perfect. They went down absolutely flawlessly. And I think the white, they are a very, very nice white decal. Absolutely pops against the nice blue. Looks really, really good. And then here we go, like I say, a little bit of Extra Strong now. As you can see, I've taped the bonnet down now as well to stop it moving. And then we can cut our decal at the front. Got a brand new scalpel blade in there. Give it a quick slice across, grab our brush again, and just gently work it in. And make sure it's all bedded down properly. And then we can repeat that for the other side as well until we're happy that it's all done. So, like I say, no problem with all these Revell decals. They go down really, really well. And this is a very, very vibrantly white decal. Sometimes with white decals, they can be a bit opaque, a bit translucent. You can see through them a bit, and a bit of the colour will show through. These are like super, super white, and there's a contrast against the blue. I think they look fantastic. They look really, really well. But some people are afraid of working the decals. You know, some decals will react differently with decal solutions. As long as you start off with the normal, the least power, and don't go, too hot too quick, you can give them a bit of stick and get them all laid down perfect. And there we go. There's the other side done as well, and I think they look absolutely fantastic. There we go. And then the rear ones, exactly the same principle. We're going to get them in place roughly where they need to be. Get them by, there's a boot lock lid on the boot, so I've used that as a center point. And then we're going to get it all in place, and then grab our ruler, and very gently, don't catch the bodywork. I should get a plastic ruler really. And using the panel line on the edge of the boot, or trunk, we're going to measure it. I think it was about 7.5mm. Until we're happy it's centralised. Then we get it with the decal solutions, same as before. Starting off with the normal to get it all bedded down. Then we can cut the decal, and then we can hit it with the Extra Strong to get it all in place. So really simple decals. There are stripes for the side included with the kit. After chatting to some of the guys, I opted out of using those, and I think we'll apply the chrome strip to the bottom edge of the doors leading up the front. Cut the decal like we did on the front one. Just ran the scalpel blade through the panel line. Then some Extra Strong UMP. We can get it fully set and bedded in place. And then we can get our boot lock decal in there too. So there's some tiny little decals for each of the boot locks on the boot and one each side of the car, like so. There's a raised bit of detail and a recessed bit of detail on the boot. Let's get them in place, hit them with a bit of Extra Strong, sorry, with Strong kisses, UMP, and the same for the little placard at the front as well. Get it sat in place so you're happy with it. Get all the moisture out of a cotton bud, then hit it with the decal solution, job done. While I was here, Hannah bought me a nice chocolate orange, Terry's chocolate orange for my birthday, and I was showing the non-UK guys how you break them. You whack them on the desk, and it breaks up all the chocolate segments. And yeah, it's orange flavoured chocolate, and does it taste nice? Nom, 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 nom. So we've got some grey Tamiya panel liner here, and I'm going to mix it with some black until we get a nice dark grey wash. We don't need anything too dark on this light blue. It'll be fine. These decals have been drying for a good couple of hours now, so I know they're fully set in place. I'm just going to touch it, let the capillary reaction carry the wash through the panel lines, work our way around the entire car until we're done. Not a lot of panel lines on this. Like I say, that trim at the bottom there and other places we're going to we're going to sort out later on once the 2K is all dry. But it's a case of going round, and this is where the heat's important on these decals. We know they're set down, we know there's no moisture under them. I've not had a problem doing it this soon after decaling at all. But I want to get it done tonight because I knew if I left it overnight, I could 2K the next day. So not bad. This is probably, let me see, about 7 p.m. at night. I started it at 9:45 in the morning. Left the cave at 1 o'clock, came back at 5. Not too bad at all. Not too shabby at all. And like I say, my motto is if I hold a wash, give it a wash. So everything gets a wash. We'll let that dry for approximately 30-40 minutes. And then get a cotton bud, a little bit of Santador odorless mineral spirits, and we'll wipe it off. Now, I need to sort the stance out on this. We've got different wheels on this. We've got the wheels from the Foose truck from last year's build. So what I've done is I've taped up all the chassis and the components that are going on. This is the only component I'm going to glue in place because it's mostly painted the same colour. And then we'll get the chassis in the car. It's a bit of a stretch, this one. You've really got to open up that bodywork. So once it's in, it's fairly positive. The front wheel arches sit at the top of the engine. And the back, yeah, I think we've got the back roughly where it will go. There we go, it looks about right. Then we can grab our wheels and just have a little look. So that's a stock position, and that's where I quite like it to go. So it definitely needs lowering. So now we've got to figure out how we're going to lower it. So yeah, a bit tricky on the front. We'll figure something out for that later on. But on the back, it's not that bad to do. So I'm just going to have a look. And yeah, maybe I don't want to sit as low as I had it there then. So you need to push this tape down. Let's lift it up a bit. Oof, chuck it on the bench, why don't you? But I wanted to get this done before I'd like the wheels painted and the car, so I didn't have to muck around. I could have had it really low like that, but I think it was a little bit too much. So I opted to have it so the rim was just in the arch. And the way I was going to do this was using my really nice Mr. Hobby razor saw, whereas the rear hub was a little bit too wide. So I'm just taking off the edge, and that way the wheel will sit straight in the arch. So just take off that edge, and then we're going to grab our spring, and what we're going to do, we're going to cut the spring off, and this is the piece that determines the height of it. You can see the locating point at the top. So we're going to cut it off the plastic, like so, and then we're going to cut off a little slither of this, and that will lower the car then. So I did about, I would say 3 mil in total. I did it by eye, completely by eye. But I could kind of imagine how it looked from the way it sat stock on those wheels. So I reckon it was about 3 millimeters I took off in total. Cut it as straight as possible. We'll then clean it up with a UMP thinny stick. Like so. And then we'll simply glue it back in place. And then we've got the piece left there to measure for the other side. And it was actually really easy to lower this car. So like I say, we probably loaded about 3 mil. Makes all the difference. It sits so much nicer. Like I say, the front was a little bit trickier, but we'll still get it done. So a little bit of tat to get it held in place, like so. And then we'll get the tat and let the capillary action carry it around and glue it in place. There we go. Now, the reason I cut the spring off is we keep the original locating point at the top. It's the easiest way to do it. And if you looked at it, you probably wouldn't notice any difference either. So there we go. A little bit of extra thin around it, glued in place. Exactly the same for the other side. So we cut it the same, put a little dab of extra thin in its place. We're going to pop it on. Make sure it's level. So you might have to spin it around a little bit so you get it to sit flush. And once you've got it, here's a bit of extra thin. And glue it in place. Like so. So, like I say, the rear, quite easy to lower. Works really well. Just let that dry for 15-20 minutes or so. And then we can test fit it in place. Now, axles, the kit comes with pins. They're no good for this. So we're going to use cocktail sticks. I've already got a piece in the wheel. And I've measured the drill bit. And we drilled a hole in of the applicable size into the hub. And it's an absolutely perfect fit. There we go. A bit rustic, but works. Yeah, absolutely spot on. We'll do exactly the same for the other side. And then with both wheels in, we can pop them in place. Make sure they sit well. Get the rear subframe in and then the springs in at the top. Like so. And then just have a quick check how it looks. I'm just putting it on the bench so I can see it. Line everything up level. And yeah, that sits just right. The wheel is just in the arch, which is just about where I wanted it. And now it's onto the front one. So the front one, I thought I'll try the same. I couldn't see any way of cutting it because we'd have to cut the engine subframe. That would move the engine, so that was a no-go. But I had to drill this out first. Same cocktail stick axles, just to pop it in place to see how much we need to lower it. And it's quite a bit on the front. The front does sit quite a bit higher. So yeah, we're going to have to do something here. So thinking cap was on, and I thought, you know what, we'll make a little offset piece using some flat plastruct strip. So I'm just cutting a strip off, cutting it straight, like so. Quick measure up to get it by eye, drill a hole in the same size as we drilled in that rear hub. Pop it in. There we go. Make sure it all sits right. Sits flush right up to the edge. Sits straight as well. And then duplicate that for the other side. And then pop it on. Like so. A little bit of a test fit. There we go, much better. So with that in place, you can see we've had like a little leg extension. So we straighten that up. And then holding it in place where we want it, we'll glue it to the existing hub as before. So we just added like a little leg off the edge, a little bit of support. A little bit of extra thin. Hold it for a sec. Let it grab. And there we go. See, it sits just in the arch now. It sits well on its wheels. Looks good to me. So there we go. So yeah, easy enough to do. I think that sits about right. I'm just showing the lads in the hangout. There you go. I think that sits about right, don't you? Yeah, quite happy with that stance. It's going to look quite good. Certainly an improvement over the stock ride height and the stock wheels. And we're recycling some wheels that we probably would have used on anything else. And they fill those arches perfectly as well, both in width and height. So yeah, a bit of a rustic way of doing it, but works pretty well. With the wheels safely in place where we want them, we can add some extra thin. So just being generous, holding the wheel where we want it, and pop some in to hold it in place. And with all the wheels in place and all fitted, that's the stance we've got, and I'm happy with that. That looks absolutely perfect to me. Now the other choice we've got now is wheel colour choice. I've had recommendations of black, which you don't really want to do, chrome, which I'm unsure of, or a gunmetal colour. So the colour I'm thinking of is the centre of the Porsche Speedline rims that I did for the wheels. And then we do the rest of the crim in the silver plate next, like we did on the GTX. That's my plan. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. There we go. So mounting the body to our Tamiya paint stand in preparation for 2K. So we're going to stick it on the actual sprung part with some 18mm Tamiya tape, and then we'll hold the rest of it side by side with some of the 10mm to make sure it doesn't move around. So always make sure your car is securely fastened before 2King or clear coat, because the worst thing can happen is that it falls off, because you don't want ultra sticky clear getting stuck to anything other than itself, because it will cause such an unholy mess and you'll literally be back to square one. So make sure you get it all securely fastened, and give it a wipe over with some water on a clean piece of kitchen paper, just a gentle wipe over, and here we are on the spray booth ready for 2K. So this is the next morning now, and well, it's that afternoon actually, sorry, tell a lie, the afternoon after we decaled. We're going to mix up some 2K, so we're going with a 4mm mix, 1.3 hardener, and then 1.3 thinner. And then for our last coat, we'll do a brand new mix for the last coat as recommended, and seems to be working. So like I say, 4mm clear, 1.3mm roughly measured on the pipette, and then 1.3mm of thinner to do it. So obviously get your clear out into the medicine cup, then use a clean pipette to get the activator, then put your lids on, get that out of the way, mix that together to get the chemical reaction started. That way we get the activator starting to already harden the clear. Once it's mixed, we can get some thinner, again 1.3mm, pop that in, get every remnant out of the pipette, and give that a really good mix up. As always, it'll go cloudy, then it'll go clear, and that's it, mixed and ready to go. I also like to strain it, so we've got a 190 micron paint strainer into a fresh cup, throw that away, and into the airbrush we've loaded up, put our colour cup lid on, and we've got our anti-static brush to give the model a final wipe down to get rid of any remnants of dust or debris that's landed on there. And then with our Iwata Revolution 0.3, we're going to put a tack coat down. So this is my weapon of choice now for the clear coats. It's a dedicated Iwata Revolution 0.3 needle. It does mist the 2K on very finely, so you may need to find you go a little bit heavier than you usually would with other airbrushes. But all we're trying to do on this first coat is get a tack coat down, which is our base layer for not only the decals to protect them, but it'll dry it'll flash off ultra tacky, and that way we come with our first wet coat, we shouldn't get any paint runs. That's the theory, and it does seem to work. So yeah, be careful doing this, make sure you don't put too much down. See, a lot of people go really heavy on this first coat, and I've tried it and mixed results. I find going a little bit lighter on the first coat works a bit better for me. But make sure you get all the angles, the front of that bonnet, around the headlights, around in the wheel arches, the bottom of the lower sill. And on this one, we're going to have to get inside those engine bay corners and front edges and the scuttle panel where the window wipers go, and along the back end to make sure we get every bit covered. And like I say, we're just going to go around and systematically put down a nice tack coat. So it's up to you how heavy you go. It's your judgment, but I just use the light. I angle the model towards the light so I can see it going down like you can now. And I'm ever so slightly overlapping the coats, as you can see. And then I'll tend to do the front bit separate with the A-pillars. And if you need to go over again to get it equal, you can go over it again. There's no hard or fast rules of this. It's literally wherever works for you. But the way I'm doing it now is working very well for me, because I'm getting a nice clear coat. It's not going on too thick. I'm getting no orange peel. I'm getting no runs. And it does seem to be working really, really well. You can really start to see the colour come alive once the clear coat goes down. Once that's done, pop it in our box, put the lid back on. Well, it's a flip up lid at the front. And we'll do exactly the same to our bonnet. Now, I am double gloved on that left hand, single gloved on the right. I've got cling film on my arm. I know it's a bit comical, but it protects my arm from any overspray. I've got my full face respirator from Scott on, with probably the best filter I could get in it. Extractors going. I'm in a nice clean spray booth. And yes, taking the best precautions we can. So there's the tack coat gone. Done. 10 minutes of elapsed now. We're coming with our first wet coat. So a little bit of slower passes now. We're not going to try and get that full wet coat in this coat at all. It's the same procedure as always. We're just going to get enough down to give it a nice even coat. There will be orange peel. We are quite happy about this. This is basically a second tack coat, so thicker than the first one, but not going for a full gloss. And again, that we left off gas, flash off for 10 minutes. It'll go even tackier than the first coat. You can see we got putting it down a bit heavier this time. Overlapping passes, so we get a nice wet edge, as you can see. And then we come with our third, fourth, and maybe even fifth coat. As you know, on the third coat, I've stopped putting that heavier coat down. I've kind of done the same coat as the second one, not going for ultimate coverage straight away. And it does seem to be working well. I'll explain more about that in a minute. So, as I say, this is our Water Revolution 0.3. We're at 22 psi. That's just the mark I pick on my compressor to turn it up to. No particular reason at all why I pick that pressure. You can go 25, 20, whatever works for you. I'm making sure I keep the colour cup lids on so we don't get any spillages, especially over the model. We don't want to tip any of this on there. And like I say, people often ask me how far am I pulling back, what distance am I from it. Well, the pulling back is up to you. You're using your judgment and eye and feel to figure out how much paint you need. But I'm fully down for air, and I'm probably nearly all the way back on this one. It does atomize the paint very fine, so I do need to find, I have to give it a good bit of welly with the old pullback. But it's impossible for me to say because it's all done by hand-eye coordination. Distance, I don't know, what am I, 3-4 inches away there? All depends. But more importantly, keep that wet edge and keep an eye on where you are. Make sure you get every area. And the light is your best friend here. So again, you see we've got orange peel on the roof. We're not going for a perfect coat. Make sure we get all those wheel arches and recessed areas again. We're just getting a nice even coat all the way round. We'll worry about getting that flawless finish in the next coat after this flashes off for another 10 minutes. So getting all inside the engine bay, the scuttle panel, everywhere. Quick look and we are fine. And then do the bonnet same time. And then here we are doing a fresh mix. So this time we've gone for 5mm. I've gone with. Probably could have gone away with 4, but I've gone with 5mm on this one because we are going to have to lay down the paint a little bit thicker. So it's 5mm of clear, 1.6 of hardener, 1.6mm of thinner. Same as before, we give it a good stir up between each chemical. So that's the activator in and mixed, and then the clear goes in and it's strained again. And this time we're going heavier with the paint, but I'm not going to try and get that flawless finish off these coats, which is what I've done before. And doing that, end up putting down the 2K way too thick. So it's a little bit heavier than the second coat. But we're just going to give it a pass, make sure we get everywhere. The lower sills are often quite missed, so make sure you get there. And then we flip it around, do the other side. Like so. Like I say, this is going to vary for everyone. You're all going to do things differently. But I know a few people are doing my way. I know Mark Ewing's doing the same way. And he's having good success by the look of it. His models are turning out beautiful. So if you are trying my way here, which is probably a bit unorthodox, let me know. Let me know how it's working out for you. But you can see there now we're starting to get a much nicer clear coat. But like I say, I'm not going for a flawless finish now. What we'll do is we'll get this third coat down and then we'll pop it back in our safety box. And we'll do the bonnet, leave for a minute or two, let that self-level, pull it back out and have a look. It almost always needs another coat. But I'm definitely finding doing it this way, I am getting a better finish, 100%. No runs, no orange peel, not as thick a 2K. It's definitely working a lot better for me. But as I say, it'll be different for everybody else. And don't forget there's all important wheel arches. And there we go, we switch that around for the bonnet. Pop that in, just there, a little bit on the scuttle panel. There we go. Like I say, it's your judgment. Have a look with your eye. The light is the biggest help in the world. Angle it towards the light and it'll show you any flaw. And the same with the bonnet. Not going for that flawless clear coat. Just get the coat down. We'll let it self-level and have a look at it again in a couple of minutes. And if it needs more, we'll give it some more. I have to say, how vibrant are those decals from Revell? The white is super white. Absolutely beautiful. There we go. We'll let it sit for a couple of minutes. We're taking it back out and I can just see some orange peel. So I'm just giving it a light pass. This time around we should get rid of any orange peel. And we should have a near perfect finish. Like I say, don't be afraid. You can put a lot of this down before it will cause any issues. But there is a fine line between getting that flawless clear coat and getting runs. And nobody likes getting the runs at all. It makes a real mess everywhere. So it's just, yeah, use your eye, use your judgment. If you're thinking that's getting a little bit heavy, leave it be. Leave it to one side, let it self-level. Certainly don't do what Joe Yellow did, if you're watching, buddy. Which is, oh, I've got runs. I'll put some more down. Because you'll get more runs. Definitely don't do that. As you can see, I'm angling it round towards the light. You can see that orange peel on that roof in my light. You can just see the imperfection. It's not quite a crystal clear coat. Don't forget the wings, all the leading edges, all the edges of the bonnet, inside, everywhere. There we go, that's looking good to me. Let that level for a minute and we'll double check it before we commit to cleaning out the airbrushes. Obviously we've got the bonnet to do as well, but it is, just use the light. Have a look. If you see a little bit, just put a little bit more on. If you don't, put it to one side, put it away. For me, the aim of the goal is to get as flawless a finish you can and get it back in that box as quick as possible to reduce the risk of dust. So here we are on the bonnet, applying a bit more. So I have to say, this eye water's taking a little bit getting used to. It atomizes the paint a lot finer than the Apex. So I can get away with doing this a lot better. It does suit my painting style a bit more. We'll let that self-level. That's looking good to me. So if you do spot it, just a quick fly over with the airbrush. That looks pretty flawless to me. That'll self-level out beautiful. No runs, no orange peel. Fantastic. And there we go. One quick inspection. It's been back in the box for a couple of minutes before I clean the airbrush and commit to tidying up. Same with the bonnet. Just whip it out, have a quick look. Clear coat looks really good. Doesn't look too thick. Once we polish this back, flat it back with our 3M pads and polish it up, it'll look great. And here we are. Let me see the watch. What time does it say there? So I say 5:15. So that's about 4 hours later. On my bench, you see the blue looks absolutely beautiful. Clear coat is fantastic. We've got a few dust spots in there, but we can sort those out, no problem at all. And yeah, lovely colour, lovely stripes, lovely clear coat. Just turning my lights off so we can see through the LED lights. Colour is stunning. Really like that colour. And those white decals are just so vibrant. Look absolutely fantastic. Okay, there we go. So, there we go. What can I say? A couple of days progress. Immense. It's a great little kit, this. And a really nice car. And that colour has turned out absolutely fantastic. Very happy with that colour. And like I say, it's going to be a quick build. It's not going to drag on this one at all. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody else's interpretations of it. We've already got one finished. Paul J. Lewis has finished this already after a couple of days. Crazy. Madman. And I'm really looking forward to see what everybody else does with theirs, because it's a great kit. And it's nice to see everyone's focus. There's some quite heavy modification going on by a few people. It's going to be really interesting to see those finished results. There we are. So if you're taking part, make sure you post regular updates on ISM, YouTube. If you post on YouTube, let me know so I can go watch your updates. Tag me on Facebook, message me, mention it in the comments down below, or mention me on YouTube. And yeah, really looking forward to what everybody does with these. And yeah, we've got some more buddy builds planned for next year. Myself and Andrew Doer. I've got a couple of buddy builds proposed. One's going to be a Dodge Viper build, and the other one's a bit secret for now, but we'll announce it later. I think the Viper one's going to be in January sometime. And then we've got all ISM's buddy group builds to come out next year as well, which Alan and Simon will be sorting out, hopefully, as well. So there we go. Thanks for watching today. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of my question about wheel colour. I did ask in the video. and let me know what you thought about the build. Always nice to get feedback off everybody. As always, you want to become a supporter, there's a Patreon link in the description down below. 2-week early access, exclusive video builds, exclusive how-to builds, an exclusive Facebook group, an exclusive Facebook chat messenger group, as well as other options. You can talk directly to me on Patreon, and obviously 2-week early access on the videos is great as well. Links down below, there's links to all the tiers and what you get as a member. You can also become a member on the daily live streams on my other channel. And there's a PayPal me and a Buy Me Coffee link down below should you wish to donate via them. Links to everything down below, ISM, UMP, all my modelling related paraphernalia down there, my Paul ISM modelling page, my Patreon links, my Amazon shop, my products I use. You've got the Off Air Hangout group, the Live the Bench page, the group build page, there's loads of stuff down there. More importantly, make sure you sub to the channel, click the bell notification, give the video a thumbs up, and leave a comment. Like I say, love hearing all your feedback. Let me know your thoughts, and let me know if you can take part in the build. There we are, and that's us. So thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.